Usually at A&M, when we start a lecture, the professor kind of calls attention to the class. He will start by just saying howdy, and the entire class will answer back howdy. So we're going to start with that today. So, good morning, howdy.
Howdy.
All right, that was great. My name is Burress. As previously mentioned, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Michigan State University, and I'm currently working on my master's at Texas A&M University, also mechanical engineering. I have a focus in automotive powertrain, and through my experience in solar car, I've previously been a website engineer, a chassis engineer, I had some time in business, and now I founded the Texas A&M team. So, besides that, there is so much more to engineering than just solar car, than just your classes. I have much more to do outside. I've been a new product engineer at Caterpillar. I've been a integration engineer at Caterpillar. I've been a manufacturing engineer at Stellantis. For those of you who don't know, that's Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and then I was a design engineer there. I was even a manufacturing engineer at Harley. So outside of that, obviously I have plenty of other hobbies. I am a Chiefs season ticket holder, so at 3 p.m. I will be closely watching the TV screen. I fly drones in my spare time. I formerly wrestled at the Division I level. And I also, now in my spare time, am powerlifting, and I'm really big into F1 and NASCAR. A lot of motorsports is what I'm into. So, kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, what there is, like the excitement of engineering. There is much more than just your textbooks, your classes, and those late nights in your study halls. So, first of all, there is just so many different professions and categories of engineering that you can get into. Just a few are listed on the screen, but even this is not, I can't even encompass all types of engineering just in general here, but you can, if you really like engines, you may be bound for mechanical. Very niche one, but up and coming one that I've seen a lot of interest in is metallurgical. If you really like welding and you want to get into the welding sciences, metallurgical is a really good one. Computer engineering is very popular right now. All are things that, while you can get a formal degree in any of these, it still allows you, this is very sensitive, this allows you to go anywhere. And leading into that, you can have so many different roles with any of those disciplines that I just mentioned. You can be a design engineer, a quality engineer, the ones that I've listed already, but a test, a social engineer. Even if you are interested in engineering and have an interest in sales as well, you can do technical sales. And, you might not think of that as like your first choice as, I'm an engineer, I want to do engineering things. No, you can take this, talk to other engineers, but if you're really good at business, maybe technical sales is a home for you. But that's kind of some of the roles. Obviously, you guys are going to learn more about these the more you go in your education, but just to kind of get you excited, there's so many pathways you could go down just in engineering alone. But I can talk more about specifically what I did as to my journey to get here and the exciting things that kind of brought me to engineering. Now, I was not fortunate enough to have a solar car team in high school. However, I was right near a NASA facility and an Air Force base, so there was a lot of engineering opportunities. You can see up in the top right there, those are some handles on the International Space Station. That was part of one of the competitions that I did in high school. And then also we worked with a shipyard out in Norfolk, Virginia to do cardboard boat races. And then since that facility was so close, I had 4 different summer academies that I was at that I met a lot of really talented people, got to tour a lot of schools, learn more about engineering more in depth formally. And also I got to meet my college roommate there. Who would have thought that when 2 guys going to Michigan that we would have met in Virginia, but it happens. And I also was able to get some college credit before I'd even stepped foot in the classroom. So those are sort of things that you don't really prepare yourself for when you step foot in high school and you don't really know what you're going to do. Some of you guys are sitting down right now going, I'm not really sure if engineering is for me. I was in that same boat that you are. And just know that it's okay to take that jump. And especially if you're already one step ahead of everyone else who's not sitting in this room here today or watching online. You're one step ahead of them by already knowing what you're want to expose yourself to. So the exciting parts about engineering school, specifically in college, I started out as a wrestler at Michigan State. That was kind of my primary goal. was to kind of do well in that regard. And then I actually got into engineering and realized it was actually kind of something I was falling in love with. Spent many nights, as you can see down in that bottom picture, that's a panorama, and that's me in every single pose. Easily spent a lot of nights in study hall, really learned to love the craft. I started out my journey to sustainability and work closer to solar car. I joined the Student Greenhouse Project. Kind of saw that wasn't as fast-paced as I wanted. It was just okay. And then I picked up coding for the solar car team on their website development. Just on the side, it was something that I could do because of wrestling practices. Something I could do at like 3 a.m. when I wanted to. So I was able to pick that up. And then I went and did a tour of 10 different companies for my spring break. They paid for my entire trip just to get to talk to people like me, people who are interested. And that kind of further inspired me. You know, these are things that like you don't get to do. Companies don't just do this for anyone. So if they're coming out and talking to you and paying to bring you out to different places, they're interested in you and they want to see you succeed as well. Then the week after that, as some of you guys might have been in other schools, my college experience, I got shut down from COVID-19 the week after my spring break. And at that point, I had kind of reached a crucial decision, kind of the point when even in college, you maybe even unsure. So if you wanted to do engineering. So at that point, I was like, no, engineering is for me, wrestling is not. Decided to leave the wrestling program, really focus on engineering. And then, so COVID in college, that picture on the top there is my office. That was my student desk for 18 months. For those of you in Texas, we had a little bit more of a shorter lockdown than we did in Michigan. But I was able to do my classes online for about 18 months. But one thing that I did do while I was back home in Kansas City was I got to work at a face shield factory that we sent face shields to hospitals. And I started out as just someone on the assembly line. It was just something to do while the teachers figured out how to transition onto an online setting. And then just from my experience from the previous internships that I had, he realized the ideas that I had, and he actually promoted me to a manufacturing lead, like a team lead or an engineering lead, because of my experience in the plants, realized how efficient I could be. So I started there just looking to make a quick buck, and it ended up being like a really serious, really fun job. I got my first patent at 20, and I can't really talk to you about it, so I've left a riddle up there, and if you think you can solve what part I patented, feel free to talk to me afterwards. If you're right, I have some stickers or something that I can give y'all, but also, I got to work and see engines get built, so I got to see Hellcats, Jeep Gladiators, all those engines get put together and built, and basically from their initial engine blocks all the way to the final assembly where they're getting shipped out. And then I decided, you know what, that wasn't enough for me. I had my bout with engineering school, and I decided to come back for round 2. So I packed everything I could in my hatchback 2-door sedan, and I took it down to A&M. And I came down there, realized, one, I didn't know what I wanted to do my research in. I hadn't done any research in the past. Usually it's very common for graduate students to do research. So I interviewed with a couple of professors, and a professor talked to me. He was like, what do you know about plasma physics? And I was like, absolutely nothing. And he was like, great, you're hired. And I've learned a lot ever since, but if I were to have told myself my freshman year of high school, or even where you guys are sitting at right now, yeah, you're gonna go do a graduate program and you're gonna go deal with plasma physics, I would have told you that you were crazy. Definitely not where I expected myself to be. But it's all about taking those leaps and really just knowing what you want to do with your life. And if you're not sure, try it anyways. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then I came down here, realized after falling in love with solar car racing, which I'll talk more about here in a little bit, but after falling in love, I was like, wait, why doesn't A&M have a team? So I started up the team. That was the first logo that we had. I since then have become an executive officer for the Society of Automotive Engineers. I've returned to CAT and was able to introduce life-saving technology that actually affected the plants and the workers that were involved. and I also now have a full-time job working at Caterpillar. So, the excitement of solar car. Obviously, I haven't talked much about solar cars' involvement in my journey at this point, but like I said, I could only work at about 3 a.m. So that was really the only time, and that's what got me into solar car, was that flexibility. Basically, the team just wanted to work. If you wanted to help, they would find a way for you to help. And that's kind of the motto that I see that you guys kind of work around. You guys work, from the few of you that I've already talked to at this conference, you guys have just wanted to put your hands on, like do things. So that was kind of, that mantra continues, and yeah, so I left. I saw that solar was definitely more my passion than wrestling was, and I'd done wrestling for 15 years up to that point, but solar was really where my heart was. I started to get involved more after I left wrestling, involved in the chassis engineering. I started to get more involved in also, sponsorship outreach, talking to companies, seeing what these other engineers and subject matter experts were doing. During the COVID lockdown, we were shut down for 18 months. So we were not able to touch our car at all. The shop was locked, but we still found a way to power through that. There was still the race going on. We had 3 months between the race and actual competition, and we were doing the best we could to actually get to the race. My familiarity with sponsors from the website development actually ended up being the reason why I was chosen for business director. Everyone else, it was not even a position that I ran for. The team told me, they were like, we know that you're familiar with these people and we think you'd be best to run it. So again, I didn't feel like I was fit for that position, but other people around me motivated me, and I got into that position and I loved it. So you don't really know what you really like until you try it. And I got college credit for working on the solar car. Obviously, that's super nice. That's hard work. It's completely extracurricular in college, but to be able to be recognized by the university for the work like that is really awesome. One of the other exciting parts is competition. Competition is always fun. My favorite phone call was, hey Dad, can 20 of me and my closest friends come spend the night in your living room and basement? Yeah, that was, I think my cat got out 17 times that trip. But yeah, so we all spent that time. We lived out of my dad's house, in and out. Basically, it became our base of operations. My dad got a crash course on solar car racing. Some of you guys some of your parents are very active in the high school events, but my dad had no idea. He just had 20 engineers speaking electrical engineering. He's not at all college educated, so this was a completely different animal for him. We actually ran out of paper at one point, so we started writing on our plates and scrap whiteboards. You can see in those left two pictures the scrap and paper plates that we were doing all of our engineering drawings on. So work gets to be busy. You can either have a ton of work or not a lot of work. That just really depends on where the firefighting's at. At competition, it's super fun, it's exhilarating, and then you get to watch other people have their hair on fire because your sub-team is set. My motor gave out the last day of our scrutineering. So as soon as you fix one thing, two things break, and now it's all right. You just got a firefight, which is super. It seems super hectic, but you leave there and you're like, wow, that was a lot, and I want to do it again. Like you really did fall in love with it. But I left there going, all right. Like I wasn't sure if I was going to start a team at A&M or just do my degree. Ended up deciding, I'm gonna do solar car racing at A&M, and so I started that team. There was no team there. I started in July, basically calling up every mechanical engineering professor, being like, hey, I'm getting a team together. And I was able to find out that there was a team that existed up until 2003. But before I'd even stepped foot on campus, Texas A&M Solar Car existed. So I got in touch with the leaders from the previous team from 2003 and 2001. Those people are CTOs and CEOs of companies now, and they were ecstatic that I was able to come and bring back something that they did and fell in love with. We got a team, we got another team to donate us a chassis, and we were basically rebuilding that thing from the ground up. It was grassroots recruitment. I was literally standing out front of the engineering building just asking kids if they wanted to build race cars. That was how I got most of my team members involved. And And then after I'd got them in with that initial pitch, then they actually got more and more interested the more I talked about it. So a lot of grassroots recruitment. It was just me out there with some flyers and a QR code, and that's how I got a lot of these guys in. I've came into the workshop the past 2 years, kind of observe and learn from y'all. There is a lot to learn. Even me as a grad student, I have so much to learn. I will never stop learning, and coming to events like this, learning from y'all and allowing you to learn from me is something that makes me incredibly happy. One of the fun things as well is holding design reviews with industry experts. A guy with 20 years at Lockheed Martin saying that your design looks really good and you did really well. There's something satisfying about that, as well as them giving you critiques and not taking it personally, knowing that this is something that's going to make your car better in the end. One of the other cool things is, for being a fan of motorsports, we got to go and get paddock passes and do Formula One paddock tours, which was really a nice honor. We got invited to Austin to the USGP to go show off. So you can see in the bottom right, that is us at turn 13. Super cool experience. We got to talk to like 1 million people about solar car from across the world. Seeing us on that stage, it's super awesome to see your product shown that much. So I've told you a lot, and a lot of this stuff is super exciting for some of you, but all right, what's the exciting part? I've told you a lot, and it's a lot of work. So what's the actual exciting part? And it's kind of seeing your projects come to life. I've made a lot of things in my spare time, or in classes, or in work. But one of them is I've been able to make like a soda machine. Been able to make mixed drinks, like sodas, like Shirley Temple's, things like that. I've been able to make different kinematic machines, like a slider crank. You'll learn more about that as you get into engineering. Some can crushers, which is really cool that I can, in Michigan, we do recycling by the can, so you get 10 cents for every can. So the more you can fit in a bag, the more money you get, which then you can use to buy ramen or whatever. And then also, I was with Caterpillar, I was able to become the subject matter expert as an intern at a company in augmented reality. My second year, flew me out to 3 different locations to help with the installation of the products that I designed the summer prior. Obviously, getting to build a solar car and getting class credit for that is super fun. Those are fun projects. Or even things like thermal batteries. Like this tinfoil box doesn't look like a lot, but like when you actually know the engineering behind it and you know the work that got put behind it, it's super cool some of the work you can do. With that, I've got 2 other students who would like to speak. Oh, so actually there you can see the video, if it'll play. Oh, nope. Yeah, with that, I'll just pass it off to some other students that I wanted to make sure they got to speak and tell you about their experiences. So I'm going to pass it off to Abhay. Yeah.
All right, howdy guys. My name's Abhay. I'm a sophomore electrical engineering, and I'm a proud member of the Texas A&M Solar Car team. And I just have a quick 2 slides, so it won't take too long, I promise. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about the excitement of being an engineer and what it means to go to or have an engineering undergrad. So right now, I'm a current battery box engineer and finance lead on the Texas A&M team. I also interned at the Solar Car Challenge last summer. And honestly, once you guys are done with high school, you go on to college, that's something like amazing you can do. You can intern at the Solar Car Challenge. I can vouch for that. But one of the main things why engineering is so exciting to me is just building cool stuff, right? As you can see, some of the CAD drawings and like the robotic arm, it's just really cool stuff. But when you build cool stuff, it doesn't have to be in a niche like project area or something like that. As an engineering student, you build cool stuff in your classes every single day. You have so many cool labs where you're working with electrical circuits or different mechanical designs that are just so cool and so interesting. And it's amazing to work on that every day as an engineering student. But let's see. So as an engineering student, your possibilities will be vast. There'll be hundreds of student organizations you can join, and there's bound to be one that's going to pique your interest. And I'm sure for a lot of you, it's going to be a solar car team at whatever university you choose to go to. But There's going to be so many opportunities. And it kind of leads me to my next point in that once you're in university, the opportunities to take on leadership positions are huge. And that's really exciting because when you can lead something and when you can lead something that affects hundreds of people in a positive way, it's really a great feeling and it's really something exciting. But in a way, I can kind of relate to your high school solar experience because I did robotics in high school. And I made so many lasting friendships and lasting memories, which is like another thing that's extremely exciting about engineering, right? It's just the process of building these solar cars, building different projects. So for me, it was the FTC competition. We had so many experiences where like we were 2 days out from competition and we were solving this problem we had on the robot. And of course it was stressful in the moment, but looking back on it, some of the best memories I have, and there's some of, I made lifelong friendships. But yeah, in the interest of time, I'll keep it short and pass it to Adhav now.
All right, howdy y'all. So my name's Adhav Rajkumar. I'm a sophomore in electrical systems engineering at A&M, and I'm currently a member of the driver control system. Many of y'all may know it as the telemetry system, and also the business director. If you want me to speak a little bit about my work as a business director, I love my team. I mean, y'all could see them up in the top left, the pictures, but we've raised over like $90,000. A lot of it was from the summer, so it's been a great year for us. And I'm really looking forward to the race that we have in the future. But for engineering, I chose engineering because I've always loved taking things apart and putting them back together. One of my most favorite projects as a middle schooler actually was when my teacher asked us to create a brace for her brother who had cerebral palsy. And seeing him use it every single day and hearing feedback about it was honestly the most reassuring and greatest thing that I've ever seen. Because the enjoyment you see from someone like using an item that you've helped create and you've helped design, create, and like fully make, and seeing them be able to live out their days fully is something that honestly, that feeling has never gone away. But let's figure out how to use this. Wonderful. So what makes engineering exciting? It's possible to achieve whatever you want. As an engineer, like Ian had mentioned, there are a lot of disciplines that you can get into. Whether you want to become a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, computer engineering, there's so many different disciplines, so it's easy to find a major that suits you or a job that suits you. What's next? There's never a sticking to one project mentality in engineering. You're always worrying about the next project. You're always working on the next thing, so you're never always stuck. And you also learn as an engineer how to properly fail. And failing sounds like a tough topic. It sounds like something that many people are scared of, but learning how to move past your failures and your boundaries is something that engineering can teach you a lot about. And the only thing that can limit you is your imagination. I've seen, whether you're online or in person at the conference today, there are not a lot of people who can say that they've developed a solar car, especially at a high school level. So if you really are worried about engineering, trust me, there's nothing to be worried about. You're in the right spot. So to finish it off, I just wanted to give it off to Ian. Thank you all.
So we will be outside later. Thank you, Doc, for inviting us. Again, like Doc mentioned earlier, you guys being where you are right now puts you miles ahead of everyone else as far as if you have interest in solar car in the future, especially at Texas A&M. Obviously, we'd love to have every one of you in this room on the next team, but obviously, you need to choose where you want to go for college. But yeah, we will be outside answering questions later. Yeah, thank you, Doc.